Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. So today I've got a little bit different kind of video, and I've been meaning to do it for a while, ever since I got that Peterson tuner over there. And it's a video on whether or not it makes a difference when you're doing your intonation on your guitar that the guitar is laying on its back or it's in playing position. I've heard this over and over again, and I just want to test and see if it's true. So we're going to try out a few things with a few different guitars and a few different tuners and see how things turn out. Alright, well, a little bit about what I'm going to be using today. I've got a Peterson Auto Strobe 590 tuner that I've been using here recently. And I've got my original tuner that I've been using for a while. It's just a little personal Korg TM60. It's just a little digital tuner with a simulated analog sweep on it. And it's just a kind of a compromise that I got. I used to have a nice Seiko analog tuner that I really enjoyed, but it finally bit the dust after many years. But anyway, I'm going to be trying that out with a few different guitars, and I'm going to start with this 1987 Gibson Les Paul Studio and the Peterson to start with, and then we'll move on to the other tuner. So let's fire up the Peterson. The Peterson is a mechanical strobe tuner. So what you'll notice is it's got this wheel that spins up, and there's a flashing strobe light inside, and the way that the strobe light shines on that spinning wheel will tell you whether the notes are sharp or flat, and basically you'll get the illusion that these black dots stop when things are tuned. So for example, here's an open E, and what you'll see is the Peterson will tune to E, and those dots will slow down and in fact stop. And that tells you that that E string is tuned. It's actually just a little bit sharp because you can see it rotating just ever so slightly to the right. But it's about as tuned as I can get it with these old school Schaller tuners. So the first step in intonation is to tune the 12th fret harmonic of the string. Okay, that is about as tuned as I can get it. Now let's try the 12th fret fretted note. That's also quite tuned. Let's just for fun go ahead and check this same tuning against this cheaper tuner. 12th fret harmonic. That's pretty spot on. 12th fret fretted note. Also spot on. Let's try the same thing with the guitar in an upright position, playing position. 12th fret harmonic, that's pretty spot on. 12th fret fretted note, also spot on. So that's interesting. I'm not seeing any difference in this guitar with the guitar laying on its back versus the guitar upright. Let's try the same thing with the cheaper tuner. Still tuned at the harmonic. Still tuned at the 12th fret. So again, doesn't make a difference to the tuners. I see an identical result by basically laying the guitar on its back versus the guitar on its side. Now if it makes a difference to you, I've got my neck block laying under the neck right around the 5th fret. It's just where it happens to be right now. I can move it around to see if that makes a difference, but I suspect it probably won't. In fact, let's move it up to the 12th fret, see what happens. Note's just ever so slightly sharp, but it oscillates between tuned and sharp, and the fretted note, spot on. It's an interesting result. I guess I could try it with the Peterson. That's tuned, also tuned. Both of those were ever so slightly sharp, but they kind of fall flat as they sustain. All right, so I don't know about you, but I was actually quite surprised with that result. There was absolutely no difference between this guitar when it was laying on its back versus when it was laying upright. I think what we ought to do though is try out a few different guitars and see how this plays out. Let's switch gears to this Telecaster. Now this Telecaster has a really chunky C profile neck on it, and I want to see if that affects the test at all. Again, let's check intonation at the 12th fret harmonic and at the 12th fret fretted note. So the 12th fret harmonic is good, and my 12th fret fretted note is good. So let's see what happens when we change this to playing position and try the same test. 12th fret harmonic. Tiny bit sharp, but still pretty good. 12th fret fretted note. That's actually a lot sharper. I'm going to try the harmonic again. That's good. That does affect this quite a bit. In playing position, the fretted note is quite a bit sharper than the harmonic, which tells me that when it's laying on its back, that note's actually a little bit flat. All right, well, let's verify this result on the cheap tuner. On its back, 12th fret harmonic. Well, it's definitely sharp. Let's tune it back. Fretted note. It's sharp, but we can see how much. Now let's compare that to playing position. The note itself, or the harmonic, is a little bit flat. Now the fretted note, it's about the same amount off. But you can definitely tell it does make a difference when the guitar is on its back versus when it's in playing position in terms of the tuning in general. But I don't think it has actually affected the harmonic that much on this cheap tuner. The Peterson shows a little bit different story though. So I can say in terms of the notion that intonating your guitar in playing position is different than intonating your guitar when it's on its back is true on this guitar. Now let's try one more test before we call this thing settled. All right, my last test subject for this video is going to be this hybrid guitar. It's kind of a Frankenstrat. It's got a made in Mexico body right around 2000, 2001. It's a Fender body, and it's got a Japanese Charvel neck on it. And the reason I'm choosing this guitar is because this Japanese Charvel neck from around 1990 or so is very, very thin, and it's actually thinner than normal because I've done some sanding on it and an oil finish, and I want to see if a really thin neck affects this test at all. All right, so the first part of this test, again, harmonic. That's pretty spot on, a little bit sharp, but not much. And same thing with the fretted note, tiny bit sharp, not much. Let's do this in playing position now. Okay, tuning is spot on with the harmonic. Interesting. So the fretted note is spot on too. This is not really what I expected, to be honest. I kind of thought the thin neck would change this result. Let's verify this on the cheaper tuner. All right, so we're back on the guitar's back. Harmonic, spot on. And the fretted note, spot on. Let's try it in playing position. Harmonic, spot on. Fretted note, spot on. So it would appear that this guitar, having a really thin neck profile, kind of turned out the same as the Les Paul. The chunkier profile with the Telecaster actually had a little bit of a difference. And I don't know, maybe there's other variables here. Maybe the Telecaster was a variable because it had a compensated set of saddles, sort of a traditional Tele saddle where there's only 3 intonation screws on the whole guitar. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know, the verdict is kind of still out on this, but I'm thinking that it really is guitar dependent, and that maybe a lot of guitars it doesn't matter, but there are some that do. I'm going to dig into this further in a future episode, and we'll see if we can't settle this debate. All right, well, thank you all for hanging out. I really hope you're enjoying these videos, and if you are, be sure to hit the like button and comment to let me know that you do. Also, if you don't mind, hit that subscribe button and maybe that notification as well, and that way you'll be notified of any of my future episodes. Also, if you think about it and you want to help support my channel, be sure to use my Amazon link in the description for any of your future Amazon purchases. It won't cost you any extra, but it'll help me out in the long run. I really appreciate it again, guys. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time.